Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, learningtomix.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a look at the brand new FG Stress by Slate Digital. This came out about a week and a half ago. Lots of people are doing videos. I've had lots of followers ask me about it. I did a demonstration of it on my live stream last week. If you want to check that out, go into my archives, check my playlist called Live Streams, and the last live stream we took a look at the FG Stress, and I'm going to do a quick little video for you here today. But before we get to that, if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button, give me the good old thumbs up, and share this video with others. It really does help me out, and it allows me to continue to create this free content and training for you here on YouTube. Also, go to facebook.com/homerecordingmadeeasy and follow me there. I'm posting daily on Facebook, and sometimes a lot of things are not always included on my YouTube channel. And for more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around all aspects of home recording, go over to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Check out the Quick Mix series as well as the Made Easy series. They will absolutely help you make better music recordings, mix and masters in your home studio. And last but certainly not least, if you want to check out a membership training website where you can join a community of like-minded engineers and home recording musicians trying to get better at their mixing skill set, go over to learningtomix.com. We're running a special there where you get a 30-day money-back guarantee as well as a super affordable monthly membership to get better at mixing. Myself and Pete Woj from mixbetternow.com are hosting over there. Great website. Check it out. I'd love to see you over there. So now let's head on over to Studio One here and let's take a look at the FG Stress by Slate Digital. So as I said, there's been lots of YouTube videos on this. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. I'm just going to kind of give you some basic features and functions, let you listen to a couple of sound sources and kind of give you my opinion on it. And then you guys can get out here and try it yourself. So this is part of the VMR, the virtual mix rack. And if I have this as part of the everything bundle, if you don't have the everything bundle with Slate Digital, is a super affordable way to get into these analog style vintage plug-in emulations of some of the most sought after hardware ever known to mankind. And this is one of them, the Stressor. And you should go check out Slate Digital. So let's take a look at this right here. So we have a simple set of controls here. At the top here, the first white knob we have is our input. Now this is a very 1176-ish kind of style compressor, whereas you push the input more, the threshold is fixed, and the more input or more signal you push into the compressor, the more you're going to get as far as compression goes, okay? We also have an attack time here, and we have a release time. The attack time here is set, excuse me, from on its slowest settings to 5 microseconds, on its fastest setting to 30 milliseconds. On the release time, the slowest release is going to be somewhere around 50 milliseconds up to about 3.5 seconds on the slowest release. On the fastest release, as I said, around 50 milliseconds. And then we have an output knob here. So as we boost the signal, we can also we'll increase the volume. We can back down the output to kind of level match the plugin. And one quick little tip, if you hold down your shift key when you're turning the input, you can see that the output suddenly becomes linked, which is a pretty cool feature. Next to the white controls here on the right-hand side is our gain reduction meter, pretty self-explanatory. Under that, we have our ratio button where we can choose everything from 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 6 to 1, 10 to 1, 20 to 1 is really kind of limiting. And then the nuke mode, which is beyond 20 to 1, which is where we're really smashing things, and I'll demonstrate that in a few seconds. Underneath here, we have a series of push buttons here. On our left side here, we have the detector or the side chain, where we have a high-pass filter button, which is set to 86 hertz here. If we wanted to cut off anything below 86 hertz to keep that from kind of affecting the performance of the compressor. We also have this little, what looks to be like an EQ Q kind of hump here. This is set at 6K, where this will help you kind of tame those sibilant things, especially on vocals. Kind of gives you a nice mid-range, upper mid-range here at the 6K frequency where you can control that as well. And then we have a link on and off button. Over here under the audio switches, we have a high-pass filter here, which again is set to, this is 80 hertz as opposed to 86 over here on the left. And then we have these two distortion buttons, distortion 2 and distortion 3. Distortion 2 being second order harmonic distortion, which is going to kind of give you the vibe of kind of like a tube type distortion. And then we have distortion 3, again, which is a third order harmonic distortion, which is going to sound a little bit more like tape. Some subtle differences between the two here. We'll toggle through them to see if we can hear it over YouTube. And then we have our mix knob here, which is not part of the original hardware, where you could go ahead and use this as kind of like with parallel compression. You could kind of dial in as much of the dry signal, wet signal as you want here. So I'm going to keep it on 100% of the signal from coming from the FG Stress. So what I've done here is I've set this up on a drum bus and on a bass and on a vocal. So if we take a look at this session quickly, you'll notice that there are no plugins really on any of the tracks, because I like to demonstrate these types of plugins with no processing, because you can tend to hear what it does a little bit more, as opposed to having something fully mixed, fully processed. Then the audio examples are a little bit more subtle that way. So I have all of our drums: kick, snare, rim shot, hi-hat, toms 1 through 3, 4, overheads and rooms, all in brown, going over to our drum bus, and on that drum bus we have an instance of the FG Stress. So let's just take a listen to these raw drums and let's see what this FG Stress can do for us. Let me mute the other tracks here. Okay, so here is just our drum bus. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit here with the input. And as you can see, the more input I push through this plugin, the more gain reduction we're going to get. Right now, I have this set on the audio side, set at, well, I'll turn it off right now, and I'll turn off all the buttons here, 100% wet. The attack time, we'll show you how the attack works here. So when the attack time is at 0, it's going to be at its fastest attack, and as you creep it up towards the 10, it's going to be a slower attack. And you can see that as it reflects in the gain reduction meter. Here's the fastest attack. Now here we are at its slowest attack, but we also now have pushed the input quite a bit, so you can see how much gain reduction we're getting. So as I lower the input, you'll see we're achieving even less gain reduction. And we're running this at a 3-to-1 ratio for now. So you use the input in the attack time . Let it loop around. And as you can see, the release, 10 is going to be the slowest release, as you can see. And then as I dial it back, we have a fast release. So something on a drum bus, so let's say we're trying to achieve 3 to 4 dB of compression, for example. You're going to use the input and you're going to use the attack time to kind of gauge, to kind of achieve that. You're going to use them kind of in tandem. Turn down the output a little, try to level match this. Okay, so once I achieve about 3 dB or so of compression on my drum bus here, now I'm going to go ahead, once I set my input, my attack and release, and the output to kind of level match it a little bit, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, we'll cycle through some of these buttons here. So if we put a high pass filter on it, now again, we're at a 3-to-1 ratio. Let's start with the ratio. Let's crank up the ratio and see what that does to our gain reduction. You can see as I turn up the ratio, 10-to-1, how much more compression we have. 1:1 would be no compression. Here's a 4:1 ratio. So as soon as I turn on the high pass button here, set at 80 hertz, you can hear that the bass drum gets a little thinner because now we're cutting off those real low ends of that kick drum around 60 hertz or so, between 60 and 65 hertz. It's going to change the way the compressor responds. So if you want that kick drum to be more pronounced, you wouldn't use the high pass. Give you a little more volume here. So some subtle differences. Some subtle differences between distortion 2 and distortion 3. Just gives you a little bit of hair, a little bit of color, nothing that's going to change the face of modern music, so to speak. But again, we're only running about 3-4 dB of compression. Now, if we want to push this thing a little bit heavier, compress a little bit more, and then use our mix knob, because right now we're at 100% wet, our mix knob to kind of dial it back, we can kind of get a nice blend. So we go on our nuke setting. We could take the fully uncompressed signal and dial in how much of the compressed signal do we want. It's before. So obviously you hear more of the overheads, more of the room, more crack of the snare, and a little bit more pronounced of a kick drum. Again, you could tweak this to your heart's content. It does what a typical FET style compressor, kind of like an 1176 kind of sounds like. It's very similar in that fashion. When you use this as like a parallel compression track and blend it in with a normal drum bus, and you use it on the nuke mode, and turn it up to 100% wet and blend it with another track, or you can do what we're doing here. You can use the wet dry knob to kind of blend it in. You get kind of the best of both worlds, and you can do it all on one track. Okay, so that's what it sounds like on a drum bus. Tweaked in at kind of 61% wet dry, using it on the nuke mode. And it's a pretty simple compressor to use. Now let's kind of listen to it on maybe a bass guitar. That tends to sound really nice. So if we listen to it on a bass, and I'll keep the drums in play here. You turn up the bass a little. Okay, we're going to set this on a 4:1 ratio. We're going to go 100% wet on the mix knob here, and we're going to try to achieve a 5-6 dB of compression. Let's see what we got. before. So you get a real nice thick bottom end. It fills it up really nice. You can also get the fingers come out a little bit more. And we're achieving about 6-7 dB of compression on this. It's its heaviest dynamic, maybe 8 dB of compression. Again, so it's really playing with the input, pushing in a signal, getting a little bit over compressed, and then using the attack time to kind of back that off a little bit to find that kind of compression level that you want. So now if we add some of the second and third order harmonic distortion buttons here, let's see what we get. Okay, what it feels like to me, I don't know if it comes across on YouTube, but I hear in the bass here where it gets a little bit warmer sounding to me with the distortion 3 as opposed to distortion 2, but they both add just a little bit of something to it. Again, before, listen to the bottom of that bass. Really nice. Okay, so that's what it sounds like on bass. Now, lastly, let's just take a listen to a lead vocal here. Again, none of this stuff has been processed. Let's just see what we got here for a lead vocal. I would never let you go. Again, no EQ, no other compression. Let's just open this up. I'll take off the virtual mix bus here. And let's just check out what we got going on over here. And they got some great presets here too as well. We could pick a nice, let's just do like a vocal optos. Let's just see what that does. It brings us to a 10-to-1 ratio, which is going to act a little bit more like an LA2A style. Got the high pass filter on here. It's going to be set around 86 Hertz prefixed. Oh, I would never let. Wow, instantly we got to turn that down a little. Let you go, but this time I gotta go. So let's see what's before. I would never let you go, baby. I would never let you go. I would never let you go. I would never let you go. But this time I gotta go. I would never let you go, baby. I would never let you go. It's our fastest attack here. I would never let you go. I would never let you go. But this time I gotta go. Yeah, let's do it before, and then we'll turn it on halfway here. We're at a 4-to-1 ratio using our high pass filter. I would never let you go, baby. I would never let you go. I would never let you go. I would never let you go. But this time I gotta go. So again, it's very reminiscent to the 1176 LN, the blackface, in my opinion. It sounds very similar to that, but maybe it's a tad bit different. And I kind of like this distortion 2 and 3 buttons here. That seems to give a nice little bit of added touch there. So I think it's great. Now people are going to ask, well, does it sound the same as the hardware? And to be honest, it's been so many years since I've used the hardware that I honestly couldn't tell you. I know that it has the characteristics of what the hardware sounds like to my memory. Again, but when I listen to this, I instantly think it's a lot like an 1176 kind of, but with a little bit of a different flavor. So again, I think it sounds great. The best thing you can do, especially if you have the everything bundle with Slate Digital, you get it for free. But if you don't have any of the bundle packages and you were thinking about buying this, go to Slate Digital, download it, demo it for a week or two, and try it out. The great thing is it's got a lot of cool presets in here, and they're all very usable. I've gone through a bunch of them at times, and they're pretty good for all the different types of instrumentation. And I would check those out. And again, it's a fairly easy compressor to get your arms around. You could just start twisting the knobs and play with the different ratios. And the thing with this style compressor, or the thing with any compressor for that matter, is you can tend to overdo it very quickly. And what I like to do mostly is I like to use compression in a kind of a sparing way, unless I'm using it as a parallel bus where I'm really trying to crush it. Usually I'm only looking to compress anywhere from 3 to 6 dB. Anything above 6 dB and you kind of lose the dynamics. So it's, you want to do this in a little more of a sparing way, especially once you start loading in a bunch of plugins across your session and you're using things like console emulation or tape plugins and those kinds of things, because they all just add a little bit of compression and you don't want to squash the life out of your tracks. So that is a quick first look at the FG Stress by Slate Digital. Again, I urge you to go out and demo it. Check it out. I like the way it sounds. I'm going to play with it a little bit more as I'm fairly new to it. So I hope you go and do the same, and let me know in the comments below what you think of the FG Stress and how you're using it in your productions. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, please hit that subscribe button below. Share this video with others. Give me the thumbs up. It really does help me out. I really do appreciate it. And also go over to learningtomix.com once again if you want to get some real in-depth premium training to help you make better mixes in your home studio. My name's been David Vignola with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.